Hello everyone, and welcome back to Jeff's YouTube channel. If you're new here, please take a moment to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our latest videos. Today, we're diving into a very important and timely topic that requires our collective attention and thoughtful discussion. Embattled Daystar TV refuses to refund donations, says Jonathan Lamb has corrupt spirit of greed and power. This issue has sparked widespread concern within the Christian community, and it's crucial that we examine it together. Let's delve into the details and explore the implications of these developments. Shockwaves are rippling through the Christian media world. Daystar Television Network, once hailed as a shining beacon for faith-based broadcasting, is now at the center of a deepening scandal, and longtime donors are demanding answers. Bonita Beth Brock, a loyal supporter for nearly 3 decades, has broken her silence, accusing network president Joni Lamb of misusing donations to fund personal luxuries, including multi-million-dollar mansions. Even more disturbing are claims that Joni Lamb allegedly dismissed the sexual assault of her own granddaughter. But instead of addressing these grave concerns, Daystar has turned defensive, refusing to return Brock's donations and shifting blame to Joni's estranged son, Jonathan Lamb, accusing him of corruption and betrayal. The controversy strikes a nerve in the wider Christian community. Are ministries today becoming indistinguishable from secular corporate empires? Has the purity of donor intention, giving sacrificially for the work of God, been trampled underfoot by leaders chasing after wealth and influence? As the allegations stack up and donors like Brock demand accountability, a deeper question emerges. What happens when a ministry forgets its mission? And how should believers respond when the very institutions meant to uphold righteousness instead become havens of extravagance, secrecy, and scandal? This isn't just another headline. It's a wake-up call for every Christian to examine not only where we give, but why we give, and to confront the uncomfortable truth that even in ministry, greed can lurk behind the veil of good intentions. The tension between faith and finance has long been a sensitive subject, but Daystar's recent handling of Brock's refund request exposes troubling patterns that demand serious reflection. First, consider the heart of the controversy. Brock, who had given faithfully for 27 years, voiced concern that her donations were being used not for the spread of the gospel, but for luxury lifestyles and to silence scandals. In response, Daystar administrators deflected, blaming the accusations on internal family drama, particularly pointing the finger at Jonathan Lamb, Joni's own son. Rather than showing humility or transparency, Daystar's leadership doubled down, asserting that donations, once given, become the ministry's property, legally untouchable. They cited tax laws and technicalities rather than extending a pastoral, Christ-centered response. This transactional attitude is jarring, especially for a ministry built on trust, sacrifice, and spiritual partnership. More disturbing still is the broader pattern of behavior revealed through the scandal. Allegations of a $100,000 honeymoon charged to ministry funds, the ownership of multiple million-dollar homes, and reported efforts to cover up family abuse allegations. These aren't isolated incidents. They paint a portrait of an organization increasingly disconnected from its foundational mission. Meanwhile, Daystar defenders point to their growing global reach and rising salvation numbers as justification for their practices. But can ministerial success excuse moral failure? Can numbers paper over the ethical cracks? When confronted with sin, the Christian response should be repentance, not retaliation. Instead, Daystar chose to attack Jonathan Lamb and defend their financial practices, dismissing Brock's concerns as the product of lies and manipulation. In doing so, they alienated a faithful donor who only sought integrity and accountability. This is the deeper tragedy. Not just that money may have been misused, but that a ministry lost sight of humility, stewardship, and the sacred trust placed in them by believers around the world. The Bible offers clear guidance on the handling of donations, leadership responsibility, and the dangers of greed. In 2 Corinthians 8 verses 20 to 21, Paul writes, "We are taking pains to do what is right, not only in the eyes of the Lord but also in the eyes of man." Paul understood that handling gifts entrusted to the church required not only righteousness but also transparency. Ministry finances are a sacred trust, and leaders are stewards, not owners, of those resources. Further, 1 Timothy 6 verse 10 warns, "For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil." Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. This sobering truth speaks directly to the heart of Daystar's scandal. When leaders prioritize personal wealth over kingdom work, destruction inevitably follows. Moreover, James 3 verse 1 cautions, "Not many of you should become teachers, my fellow believers, because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly." Religious leaders are held to higher standards, especially regarding moral integrity. Misusing donations, silencing victims, and justifying lavish living are grave missteps in the eyes of God. The principle of restitution is also biblical. In Luke 19 verse 8, Zacchaeus, convicted by Christ's presence, declared, "If I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount." True repentance includes not just apologies but tangible acts of restoration. Daystar's dismissive response to a donor's grievance, and its attempt to silence and scapegoat instead of seeking reconciliation, stands in stark contrast to these biblical models. The unfolding Daystar controversy is more than just another scandal. It's a sobering parable for the modern church about integrity, stewardship, and the consequences of misplaced priorities. When ministries elevate empire building over humble service, they distort the very gospel they claim to preach. Extravagant spending, secretive operations, and refusal to address wrongdoing don't just hurt individuals like Bonita Beth Brock. They damage the witness of the entire church to a watching world. Trust, once broken, is incredibly difficult to restore. Brock's situation is heartbreaking, a faithful donor left disillusioned by the very ministry she helped sustain. Her courage in speaking out should inspire others not to accept abuse and misuse in silence. Ministries must remember, donors do not give for personalities or brands. They give in obedience to God, trusting that their resources will be used for His kingdom purposes. This scandal also challenges every Christian to be vigilant. Where is your seed being sown? Is it falling on fertile ground, ministries characterized by transparency, humility, and Christlikeness, or is it being consumed by greed and self-promotion? Yet, even in this dark story, there is hope. Scandals like Daystar's can be catalysts for true reform if handled with humility. Leadership could choose repentance over pride. They could make restitution and recommit to their calling. God is always ready to redeem what is broken, if there is genuine surrender. For believers, this is also a call to prayer. Pray for those hurt by Daystar's failures. Pray for the leadership to experience true conviction and repentance. Pray that the global church would uphold leaders to biblical standards, refusing to excuse misconduct for the sake of fame or influence. And if you've been wounded by ministries like Daystar, know this: God sees your sacrifice. Your giving was not in vain. He honors what was done for Him, even if human hands mishandled it. As Paul reminds us in Galatians 6 verse 9, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Our labor for the kingdom, and our hope for righteous leadership, is never wasted when placed in God's hands. The church must learn from Daystar's fall and rebuild on a foundation that values truth, transparency, humility, and above all, Christ.